David and Giovanna, President Trump's Department of Justice tried to present Don Lemon as a flight risk. They said that they want to restrict his travel just to Minnesota and New York. They also wanted $100,000 bond. That was all denied by the judge. Don Lemon will have a court date in Minnesota next month. Now, once leaving this courthouse, Don Lemon walked to cameras. This is what he said.
I've spent my entire career covering I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court.
So Don Lemon, he was arrested after the Grammys for his role in the anti-ICE protests in Minnesota at the church. He was released with no bond. They just let him go. And what this is all about is Don Lemon went into that church. He knew what was happening. He's claiming that he didn't, but he had some type of role in it. That's what everybody's thinking. So that's why he got arrested. People are in uproars because, oh, it's the First Amendment. It's the First Amendment. He's a journalist. He's press. Yes, he is a journalist, but he kind of knew what was happening. So he got released and he went on this big speech and talking about he would not stop now. He would keep going. But whether you think he's right or wrong, everybody's playing into Don Lemon's hand. Okay? Don Lemon loves this. If you know anything about building your brand, staying current, this is what's going to happen when you continue to do that. He is going to be in the forefront. He wants this. He's going to monetize this. Of course, smart. Love the brand. Love the way what he's doing. Maybe don't like what he represents. But if I'm looking at it as a business standpoint, he's going to make a lot of money because he's in the forefront. Also, too, I think that, what we have is the Democrats and the leftists, they wanted somebody, they needed black people to get in on the fight. And they found Don Lemon. Don Lemon is one of those people they were able to get to be that, mouthpiece for the movement. They didn't want another white person. They want a black person to be the mouthpiece so they can show and make this a civil rights issue with the anti-ICE protests and all of that. But a lot of people feel like it was wrong that he got arrested because he's a journalist. But there's only so much you can do. But also when you look at it, you have to understand the FACE Act. The FACE Act is that you can't go and disturb churches, synagogues, mosques. That is an actual law. And that's what they did. He was a part of it. He claims that he didn't know. But if you look at some of the film that he had from his live stream, he knew the location. He just couldn't say it. So if you knew the location, you knew what they were going to do, you're a part of it because you were there. It's not about documenting. What I've been hearing is when they had the January 6th riots, they were arresting journalists that were outside, that didn't even go inside. So if they were arresting people on January 6th that were outside, journalists that were outside of the riot or whatever, then they should be able to arrest Don Lemon with no problem. But the reason is, though, they're pumping this to make it look like they are punking a black guy, which is no, he did the wrong thing. So I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I don't think anything will really stick. I think it's more of sending a message that, it doesn't matter who you are, you can get arrested. It's not just basically off of I'm a big time person and I won't get arrested. No, I think they're making an example out of him. But will the charges stick? I don't think so.
Now, this all has to do with that protest in a Minnesota church back on January 18th that Don Lemon covered. The government accusing Lemon of doing more than just covering a story. Former CNN anchor and President Trump critic Don Lemon arrested by federal law enforcement late Thursday night at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. Lemon charged with federal civil rights crimes in connection with an anti-immigration protest at a Minnesota church back on January 18th. Lemon, who was in Los Angeles covering the Grammy Awards, posted this on social media hours before his arrest. Lemon has been accused of interfering with the First Amendment rights of worshipers at that church, whose pastor also works for ICE. But Lemon has maintained he had no affiliation with the protesters and was there covering the story.
You have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
Let's say he said, "Oh, I like what you're doing. Let's go and do it together. You do it, I'll record it, this will publicize it." That sounds like it could very well be a conspiracy. On the other hand, if he just happened to show up and saw that this was going to be happening and said, "Oh, I want to cover this," just as a journalist without really any real coordination with the people who were committing the.
What I say about this when Don Lemon did that, why were you the only journalist there? You were the only one there. Why were you in Minnesota? Out of all the days to be in Minnesota, you're in Minnesota that day. It sounds like there's a lot of conspiracy. It sounds like that this was planned. If you look at everything, if you look at what he did, if you look at some of the video, him saying that, "Oh, I know where we're going, I just can't say." Why would you be in Minnesota that day? Why would you, go in there and then try to bum rush the pastor to get, an interview? You were doing this to publicize what's going on, and you were doing this to build up your marketing and your brand. That's what it is. He did this to bring attention to himself, so people continue to watch him and feel sorry for him. And at the end of the day, he will get more money from this. But you can't tell me as a person on the outside looking at the whole situation that this wasn't planned. I really feel that this was a plan, and him making it planned and people know that it being planned could put him in trouble because you are actually storming a church. That is illegal. It's called the Face Act. So that's the thing that he's trying to get away from. That's the reason why he keeps saying like, "Oh no, I didn't know." But why were you the only journalist there? Why were you the only one there at that time talking to these people, intertwining with these people and going inside? And you're not just documenting, you're a part of it. Documenting is like, hey, we're walking. Oh, we're out here on the outside. We're looking. We're not engaging. He was engaging because he wanted to get more of the inside scoop. He wanted to get the marketing. And as a business person, as a person that's in content creation and social media, I understand it. You're trying to get the story. You're trying to get everybody to talk about you. But what you have now, you have an administration that does not care who you are. They will arrest you. If you are somebody important, they don't care. If you did wrong, they're going to arrest you. And especially storming a church, that's like very sacred. You didn't do that at a black church. You didn't do that at a mosque. You didn't do that at a synagogue. You have all these opportunities. I believe he lives in New York. You can storm a synagogue. You can storm a mosque and ask questions, but he would never do that because this was planned. This was planned and calculated. And as a person looking at it, that's what I think.
The underlying crime, then probably he wouldn't be guilty.
Last week, a magistrate judge rejected prosecutors' initial bid to charge Lemon. 3 other people were arrested by Trump's DOJ in this case, in addition to Lemon, including journalist Georgia Fort, who shared this emotional post on Facebook that agents were at her door as a result of a grand jury indictment.
I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press. Because now federal agents are at my door arresting me for filming the church protest.
Governor Newsom posting on social media, "A free press isn't the enemy, it's the safeguard, and Putin would be proud."
The government can't just go after its critics simply because it doesn't like them and just gin up charges.
Well, that's funny that he says that because when Biden was in office, we had a huge censorship. Huge censorship. Social media posts was getting censored. Facebook was censoring things. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Everybody was censoring when Biden was in office. If it was against what they were saying, everybody's getting censored. So now everybody's in an uproar when the same thing is kind of getting happening to you. But people aren't getting censored now. If you look at it, people are able to say whatever they want to say and not go to jail. These individuals, and that girl says she's a journalist, so I guess they had 2 journalists, but filming is not really being a journalist, right? But anyway, so she got, in custody as well. But people are getting mad at what's happening today. And it's not even happening on the scale that was happening when Joe Biden was in office, right? Joe Biden was censoring everybody. That administration was like, hey, censor them, losing accounts getting blocked. Even Mark Zuckerberg talked about it in a congressional hearing. It's just a lot of things that we see. It's nowhere near happening in the scale of what happened during a Biden administration, right? These people stormed a church, and that's illegal. That's what it is. It's illegal. So they are being made an example of not to do that. You can say whatever you want to say on social media. You can do whatever you want to say. And there's so many people saying so many things about Trump and they're not getting censored, right? But these people actually physically stormed a church, a place of worship, and didn't matter. And there were kids there. Like, people are like forgetting what was happening during the Biden administration. It's crazy.
Charges against them. That's, of course, would be a violation of rule of law.
Now, supporting Don Lemon in court were his agent, his husband, and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, who called all of this ridiculous. Now, when Don Lemon and his husband left the courthouse here after speaking to reporters, it was quite a scene. They were looking for their vehicle. Someone shouted, "Don Lemon, do you plan on still attending the Grammys on Sunday?" And he gave that person a thumbs up.
Don Lemon loves this. This is great for Don Lemon's career. This is great for what he's trying to do in marketing. His channel will move up. He will make more money off of this. Don Lemon knows what he's doing. Don Lemon knows this is an opportunity to boost up his profile and to have people look at him. If you didn't know who Don Lemon was before, you know who he is now. It's a revitalization of him as a journalist, and he's going to get so much love and so much support, and he's going to make a lot of money off of this. As I look at it, if I look at it as a business standpoint, a marketing standpoint, chef's kiss. He's going to make a lot of money, and that's what he does. That's what people do when they want attention. They're willing to do it any means necessary to make that dollar. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. As always, keep this thing rock, keep it going. I appreciate your support. Join the Go Getter Patreon. Link is in the description below. Also, to the No Filter Morning Show is coming very soon, and I appreciate you guys' support. I'm out.